What up, all my hoodlums, hooligans, knuckleheads, players and pimps, slayers and simps, hoes and freaks, nerds and geeks, strippers and tippers, thugs and gorillas, soldiers and kings, goddesses and queens, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, niggas and bitches, and you sophisticated motherfuckers alike. Welcome to Hip Hop's biggest fan. And today, man, I'm with Loopy Loonzy. Did I say your name correctly?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. I didn't get confirmation. I said I'm gonna go out here. I'm gonna use my my phonics skills. I believe I know I can pronounce this shit properly.
Nah, it's Loopy Loonzy. The way that it's spelled, the way that you say it, man.
Yes, sir.
Ain't nothing
All
special
right.
about it.
I will shit. I'm gonna say this now, man. You dropped a special mixtape back on fucking Valentine's Day. Love letters. Y'all can hit the link in this bio. Check this shit out. It's on SoundCloud. It's a dope project. I enjoyed it.
I appreciate you for that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. One meant a lot to me.
No, man, listen, I'm gonna keep it real. Like I check out, I check out my B here and there. You know what I mean? I don't know why as I got older, I really like the old shit. Like I'm talking about super old shit before I was born a bit more. But hearing something new was definitely wonderful and refreshing. I was like, all right, yeah, I needed this in my life. So you know what I mean?
Thank you, son. I appreciate. That's what I wanted to give, man. That's what I wanted to give.
Yeah, it was different. It was original. Didn't sound like nobody else.
I appreciate you.
I can really appreciate that because to me, that's the thing with now with everybody. I guess it's just so many people, man. It's like sometimes you don't know who the fuck you listening to. Like it just
Word.
But man, let me see, man. Well, I'm gonna just ask you this first because I see you're enjoying some of God's great herbs. Is there any particular strain that you smoking?
Right now I'm smoking a Runs OG right now.
Okay. I just like to ask because I'm from the era where niggas used to get certain packages. Sometimes the shit ain't have a name. It's like, nigga, this just what came through. And sometimes, as time progressed and time got on and on, okay, now, nigga, we know this is haze, or this is, this is whatever, this and that. You know what I mean? This is chocolate. This is. But I remember
I
my
grew up in
original days.
the funny thing is that that's how I'm known in the. That's how I'm known in the limelight out here, like in New York. I've been hustling flower my whole life. Like that's the only I don't know other didn't really go to anything else really. I really all the way stood with flower and I studied that. Like that was something that I studied because I came up in the era of greens. My first L was a Ella Piff, Ella Hayes from Uptown.
Word. And
that's what Hayes is that was your puncher back in the day. That was the top upper echelon, bud. That was your Lamborghini. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You smoking an Ella Piff. You smoking some fire. Right. So I grew up in that was my first L was a Ella Piff ever. I was probably 12. And from there, I ended up smoking greens because greens was a lot cheaper. You get a lot more for your dollar. You know what I'm saying? Eventually smoking it, but the taste was whack. I remember having a taste of greens. It was whack. But in that era, we used to run from cops in the park.
Right.
All of that. Like that was the era. This thing right here gets you in trouble. Man. Like just this little ass blunt, right? A clip. They try to lock you up for a clip. I come from that era, and once you see them, you out. It don't matter. You're like, oh, we out of there. But then everything started evolving a little bit later. Then you started getting before I even get to the where sour came into play, the buds, people don't even remember juicy fruit. You had bubble gum. You had Jack Herrera. You had all of these strands that were coming out before sour really hit. These were the popping flavors. Like the bubble gum, I remember was a very this shit was sweet. Shit was tasteful. You know what I'm saying? Jack Herrera was a really good outdoor bud at its time. Now we smoke Jack Herrera. That shit is light.
Right. All that shit is very elementary in today's standards.
Yeah, and then the Kushes came out. The Kushes came out before sour. All of that OGs and all of that, they came out. There was bubble gum. There was there was
Yep.
blueberry. There was a couple of different kind of
Hey,
cushions before
hydro and shit.
Hydro was something out there too. That was in the Jack Herrera age and all of that. So then greens, like you said, even the greens started change. Like you had mango piña greens,
Yeah.
Arizona, which supposedly didn't have that many seeds and was much lighter.
I pushed that Arizona real hard. That was kind of my specialty.
There you go. There you go. That my man pushed the Arizona heavy. My other man's had the mango piña heavy. His uncle used to get it from PR crazy. Um, and he used to push the mango piña heavy. He knows who he is. But but chocolate,
Hmm.
those were all strands of
Yeah.
greens. If people don't really
Yeah.
know, you know what I'm saying? Those are all different grows of greens of
Right.
regular.
Right. Right. Right.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like those, and that's the like people don't like this new age of bud don't know where the real essence really came from. Like that's where it came from. We was
Listen,
selling
bro.
sacks of
Nigga,
25, like big ass
I came
shit.
from the
You know what
era.
I'm saying?
Nigga, sometimes you get that little condensed ass brick of Mexican, nigga, and it's garbage. But nigga, look, this one came through. I got a gang of these. These motherfuckers $400 a joint. Like,
That's a
we gonna
fact.
move.
That's a fact. But yeah, man, like, and now look, I've evolved with the
Yeah.
times. Like, I'm here knowing, like, I got a little green thumb going. I know the ins and outs of what a grow is, what these people want. I've taken it to the extreme of actually knowing the market. You know what I'm saying? And knowing what it is to be a
Yeah.
grower and why people want certain prices for what they want and they crafts and stuff like that. Why certain stuff is cheaper because it's grown in an
Right.
abundance. See, that's what people don't understand. Like, it's not the price is not how gas it is. The price is on the grower. It's on how he feels at the end of the day. He is marketing himself. So if somebody got acres and acres and acres and acres of land, they got like greenhouse grows and stuff like that, they trying to get rid of that. Like they're not trying to sit, oh, I want 1,600, 1,700 for some greenhouse growth, some light depths. No, they trying to get rid of it. 1,100, 1,000, 800. Here, go, go,
Yeah.
go, go, go. You know what I'm saying? And it's coming into a major city where people are trying to bubble that number real crazy. So it's going. You know what I'm saying? For some good, you could get some light depths that are boomer indoor outdoor water.
Bro,
You
listen.
know what I'm saying?
I don't mean to interrupt you. I just want to say this. I stopped fooling with this. When was the last time they called me? They called me into 2012. Once I got caught, I retired. I said, all right, nigga, I got caught. I ain't good at this shit. I'm one of them niggas. So I stepped away. It's 2012. The prices I was getting for regular back then is what they doing for this shit now. I said, oh nigga, this is incredible. So I'm just this to me, like all these years later, I'm like, oh yeah, y'all getting them numbers for these for what you say, OG runs and all that. You can get a whole elbow for that. Oh hell yeah, like nigga wasn't like that, obviously fucking 10, 15 years ago, but I've been out the loop that long, but I still like to ask because I'm a connoisseur. My wife grows.
Yeah, me too. Me too. It's very hard. Like me, I smoke a backwood. I come from the Dutch era.
Yeah.
So like I come from rolling Dutches and for the ones that know happies in the
Man,
Dutch, you
listen.
get two L's out of one.
You with Doona?
You know?
You with Doona? Nigga, I'm probably from his era, Philly Blunt era. And you want big
Yeah,
nasty one,
yeah.
a Caribbean
Yeah.
round,
We did those.
white owls, white owls and shit.
That's a
You can get a
fact.
Philly for
Listen,
15 cents,
man, the
25
White
cents.
House like a cardboard box. You see who I'm with, man. I grew up with the older era my whole life. If I was rolling a Dutch, somebody who was older than me was definitely
Yes,
rolling a
sir.
Philly. It was cutting that right down the middle with a Metro
Yes, sir.
card. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir. Yes, sir.
Or a knife right there, bang, right on the line. This is also kind of what showed me how to really roll, like how to change the way you're rolling the Dutch. Because I used to unravel the Dutch and then break it down and then ravel it back together. Then niggas found the line and you was able to just do the same shit you did with a
Yeah.
Philly. Crack it right down the
Yep.
middle, get the guts out, frame it how you want to frame it, and
Yeah.
boom, roll that bitch.
Hell yeah.
If we used to cut them down the middle. Me and my best friend, shout out to Gabe. Me and my best friend Gabe, we used to cut them down the middle. We roll oops.
Yeah. Yo,
Tor
yeah.
too, Tori.
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
three used
Yeah.
to roll oops out of them
Yeah.
shits. Pace one end to the other
Yeah.
end, extend it, make it longer, and just put the whole L down the line and then
Man,
sife that bitch.
I'm gonna tell you, yo, they used to have something called a Caribbean round. That you ain't even had to do that. Yo, that shit was so long, but it was like smoking tree bark. And it was so harsh. But that shit would burn so slow. Man. But you know, that's this fucking 1995 or some shit I'm talking about.
It's crazy.
But
I
all
was
right, I
I
just, I
was
just had to
two.
ask you that. I'm a marijuana connoisseur myself. I'm a ambassador, so to speak. So I just was wondering, you know, what you was smoking on. But back to what we really here to do. We here to talk about, you know what I mean, your music and your journey and all that. So where are you originally from, brother?
I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, Williamsburg side, and then I grew up in Forest Hills, Queens.
Okay, okay. Um,
Closer to the Corona side though, left rack, like around the mall area and everything, like around those areas.
I also want to say something. Pardon me. I meant to say this off top and skip my mind. Happy birthday. I seen it was just your
Oh,
birthday.
thank you. I
So happy
appreciate it,
birthday to
man.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Hey man, listen. I got both of my sons. One birthday was last week. The other one was just Friday. So you know, happy birthday to you, to all y'all
Happy
tofu.
birthday to them too, man. Happy birthday to them too.
You know, I meant to say that off top. But okay. So
Thank you.
so man, I'm gonna say this. Growing up in about how old were you when you left Brooklyn to get to Queens?
I was like
Okay, so you
13,
had a
12,
good, so
13
you had
years old.
your good childhood and a good amount of your childhood in Brooklyn. Okay.
Listen, we could go to Brooklyn right now as we could go to Brooklyn right now in the park, Lindsay Park, right now in Williamsburg. My grandfather still owns
Yes,
a
sir.
team there. Like
Okay. Yeah. So
my stepfather is the commissioner over there.
say
Like
word.
my uncle is very well known, and my whole family and them whole ruins of the essence of what Williamsburg was is
Okay.
still there. It's not. They have not left. My grandfather, 85 years old, he walks. He's still walking to the park.
Well, okay. Well, I'm asking that to ask you this. Okay. So
You
growing
know, he
up in the '90s into the early
spoke to me.
2000s in Brooklyn, what was that like experience like for you? How would you describe that to somebody? We got a brother on here from South Africa. Say school. Shout out to him. Explain to him what it was like growing up in Brooklyn in the '90s and the early 2000s.
Growing up in the 90s, it was different. It was rough. It wasn't like my era was an era of like alpha male.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like everybody, it's not like
Not
nowadays. Like nowadays,
gentrified.
everybody is, huh?
It wasn't gentrified yet.
It was
All right.
not
All
gentrified.
right.
Everybody knew everybody. You knew, like, my grandfather, you know, he's pretty much like what the foundation is of my family being out there, you know, like him, my grandmother, and my grandfather, because they come from
Okay.
Puerto Rico. So I'm second generation American. So my mom's is from Brooklyn, and my pops is from the
Okay.
Bronx. But before we even get into like that, we still here in Brooklyn. So my grandfather came here from Puerto Rico when he was like 16, 17 years old, and he settled in the Lower East Side. And from there, he made his way over to Williamsburg. Now, Williamsburg is like Puerto Rico, like Puerto Ricans went over there and at that time and really populated the neighborhood crazy too,
Mm-hmm.
and um there's a lot of brownstones over there, family four family
Yes,
buildings,
sir.
and everybody knows each other. Like every family that grew up on the block, everybody knew each other. Your grandfathers all hung out in the same spots. They children hung out in the same spots. Everybody played baseball, basketball. Like we played for the teams, we played for districts. Like so, everybody knew everybody. There wasn't. Everybody knows everybody. If I still go there, whatever men that are in my grandfather's age that have still lasted, they know me. Like since a baby. You know what I'm saying? My uncle, his generation of friends, they know me since a baby. Like, you know, it's just that's just the way it was over there. Every family knew every family. You couldn't get into a fight. Both of you, if you got into a fight with somebody in the corner, both families knew both families. There was no
Understood.
running. There was no real hiding
No,
from
I get
that.
it.
Down the block, everybody just knew everybody. It was just so mutual. Now there's all new buildings and they've knocked down so much and like you said, gentrified the neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah.
But back in the day, like growing up in the parks, that's what you did. You went to the park, you played baseball, you played basketball in Brooklyn, and then shit was all around. Like shit would go down. Like you had your drug dealers, you had your ballers, you had your people who just went to work that's still from the neighborhood, that still came
Right,
outside,
right.
still rep the
Yeah,
neighborhood. Like one thing everybody did was rep their neighborhood. That's something like everybody does out here. You rep where you from. Like so as that, like it didn't really matter what you were in tuned with. It was still community shit. And in the community, like I said, everybody knew everybody. You couldn't do something without the community knowing.
yep.
You know, at the
Yeah, because
end of
we
the
all know
day,
each other.
like
So,
it,
yeah, we all know each other. Yeah, hell yeah.
that shit is the one news is spread like roaches now. Sometimes certain communities hold shit down.
Yeah,
Like, they won't no police activity, no nothing. You just know amongst each other.
right.
Some neighborhoods, you had your people you had your people who got police involved
Yeah,
and in that situation. But back in the day, it was a lot worse for them too, for police too. They was doing crooked shit, but there was a lot of people. What people don't understand is, the city is money, man. There's a lot of people running a lot of shit above them.
talk about it. Talk about it.
Let's call it. Let's call it spade. This is a money city. This is the
Yeah,
mecca. At the end of the day,
I,
there's people that got enough of a budget to know how to
yeah.
make shit happen. You know what I'm
We
saying?
gonna pay for that. We gonna pay for what we doing, and as long as we don't have no bodies and nothing crazy, let us be.
That's a fact.
You know.
That's a fact.
It,
That's a fact.
and I'm gonna
So.
say this: I'm obviously not a native New Yorker at all. Never lived there, none of that. But I thought about this shit one day. I was like, yo, of New York, yo, you could find a place where motherfuckers put boats in bottles at like 3 in the fucking morning. Like New York has
Mm-hmm.
got to be one of the only places where you can do this. If in order for that to happen, like you're saying, that there is some other level of hierarchy and underworld that is understood. Like nigga, this is understood because New York been like that for probably damn it since its inception or some shit. You know what I mean? So that
Bro,
does
I
make
was
New
at a,
York very unique out of
I
everywhere in
was
the
at
world.
a, bro, I was at a after hours to like that ended at 3 in the afternoon. I left at 11 this morning.
Only in New York, baby.
Only
Uh,
in New
yeah,
York, bro.
this
Like,
is
you
just
know
what
what
I've
I'm
been
saying?
told. I know everywhere else, yo, like maybe 4 in the morning, maybe 6 in the morning, but like nah. Um. So okay,
Word to my mother. We back at it again. We outside. We here. About to go see one of my DJs, DJ Manny Mega.
okay.
About to go pull up on him. We got probably two little events to go hit up and make it happen.
I
It's the
I
nonstop.
see. Yeah, you see
Nonstop.
your post, man. Y'all every day, every weekend, whatever it is. Yeah, that's what's up. That's staying active. Um, to the brother on here from South Africa, he asked if you're a rapper. He's a singer. Is that fair enough for me to say?
Yeah, I'm a singer. I'm a singer.
Okay.
I don't like to I don't like to label myself as a rapper
Yeah.
because I really feel like I'm a
Yeah.
vocalist.
Absolutely.
Um, um,
Absolutely.
I feel like I'm a vocalist. I feel like I have my own twang to what my artistry is. You
You
know.
got your own sound. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate. Yeah, that's how I. That's also how I feel. I feel like I got
Yeah.
my own little sound, and I finally in this long journey I've mastered to hone that. You know what I'm saying? For a long time I could see now as that I'm older, I could see that the artist development that I've been
Okay.
through. From just being able to maybe know how to sing to even knowing how to sing better, hitting notes better, um, to also writing
Mm.
way
Yeah,
better,
very
being
good.
way more of a
Yeah.
mature writer. Because you know, it's been a journey. You know, it's been a journey.
When did the journey
Um,
start for you, bro? How old were you?
I was 14 when I started recording. I was going to school in
Okay.
Manhattan, and we was just going to somebody's crib and like over there, like on like 28th Street and all over there by Bellevue Hospital and them P's over there, and go to somebody's crib and old school shit. Just you play um old school computer, box computer with the booth in the fucking
Yes, sir.
closet. Regular
Yeah, no,
regular
how
shit.
most people start. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Um and that's how I started. That's how I started recording at 14. But I've always had the love for music. I've had love for music my whole life, singing in the car with my moms. Um my pops, you know, they big on like freestyle and salsa
Okay.
music. My mom's and my father. Um So, you know, I kind of was like, I like to say I was kind of like made from that kind of music because that's how they met. Freestyle salsa.
Oh, word. Okay. Okay.
It's like sugar and spice, everything nice for the Powerpuff Girls is freestyle and salsa for Loopy Loonzy. Bang. Um, but um, but my mom's is also a hip hop head too. Like, you know, my mom's is a big hip hop head. So, um, you know, she's into like Mary
Mm-hmm.
J. and you know, Eric Benet and all them kind of R&B or Brian McKnight, who that's probably my male vocalist. I think he's the best
Say
male
word. Okay.
vocalist on top. I take B McKnight. You know what I'm saying? I give a big, I mean, but big shout outs to Tyrese and you know and Joe and Carl Thomas and you know all the big Tank.
Tank Cold. Tank Cold, man. Yeah, I feel you. Don't know. No. Yeah.
Genuine,
Yeah.
you know, all the big greats that you know. Those are the eras that I
Man.
Usher. He ushers the super
Man.
mecca of my era.
Yes, sir.
You
Yes,
know,
sir.
if any, you know, he was the super like superstar of my
Yeah.
era of like real R&B music and doing what Chris Brown does
Mm-hmm.
nowadays. Like I
Yeah.
grew up in the Usher era,
Yeah.
so it was always a good thing to see the both of them. Um, and see they contributes to like you know Michael Jackson and
Man.
James
Yeah. Okay.
Brown.
Yeah. Yeah. You get to hear a little bit people in their heyday right before you time. I feel you, and you just be like, man, this is incredible. Like,
But
yeah.
I also grew up with a family in Brooklyn that also had my mind on to old music, like rock in the 40s, 50s, six. Like
Ooh.
I studied music.
Okay.
I had like I call them my grandparents too because my mom's like you know my mom's was always working. I grew up just you know I didn't grow up with both parents, so I was always with my mother, um, and my mother's side of the family. Majority of the time, but I know my father. I knew who my father was all the time, and I would be with my father's side of the family. Like I would be with my grandmother over
Yeah.
there. I would be with my aunts over there, and all of that. But you know, majority of the time, I would be with my mother and my mother's side. And what was I just?
You was talking.
I
You was
just
talking
lost
about the
myself.
old music influence from like you hear about music
Yeah,
from the
so yeah,
'40s,
boom.
'50s, and
So my
'60s.
mother always working. Yeah, so my mother was always working, and I will have to stay with this family in Barakin Projects, which is also down the block from the same park my grandfather played softballing. So this guy who I grew up with, my whole, probably 12 years of my life, they took care of me. They picked like I said, I called them my grandparents. My grandmother Stoko, she used to come. She used to pick me up from school, take me to the house, feed me. Her grandchildren are like my cousins. I call them my cousins. They all live in Florida
Okay.
still.
Yeah.
They still alive. They still chill. Like that's my
That's
whole
what's
other
up.
family over there.
Hell yeah.
My aunts, my uncles, they family. They not. I don't even call them that. Like they my cousins. They my
Yeah.
aunts. They that's my grandmother. That's my grandfather. They raised me. They fed me every day. They took care of me. I slept there when my parents couldn't pick
Yeah.
me up. Like
Beautiful.
that's my family. Like at the end of the day, and they used to take me to Florida every year. I spent time in Florida every year with them. So they were the best. But we used to watch
Mm.
VHSs, back
Mm.
when I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
of like old rock music, of all of that, like like go Johnny,
Mm-hmm.
go go go,
Yeah. 60s and
go
shit.
Johnny,
Yeah.
go go,
Yeah.
like all of that twists and
Mm-hmm.
turns and all of that original music. So it was always in my face. Music was always in my face. And then my sister is a powerhouse singer.
Word.
Like my mother's daughter, she could sing her ass
Okay.
off. My sister always was singing. I was always in studios with her growing up too. And then her influences was her father. Her father, who always picked me up and always brought me around too. He played instruments like
Mm.
for salsa music and Spanish music and everything. So he always, whenever he would pick me up he would pick me up and treat me like I was his own son. So whenever he used to do that,
Man, that's
and I used to go, so he used to live in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn. So that's a whole nother family over
okay.
there for me, you know. But over there by like Coney Island, this area and all of that. So I go over there, and in Sheepshead Bay, this man would take me and spend time with me, take me to the beach, take me to go hang out as a kid. And when he would be in the house, he would be playing the drums, the flute, the
Mm.
clarinet, the guitar.
Mm.
Like he would put on his, the big speaker sound system and all of that, play a salsa or merengue song or whatever, and play whatever instrument he wanted to play
Oh,
around
okay.
along with the song.
Okay.
And he was nasty, and he was nasty. And I'm talking about congas, drum
Mm-hmm.
set, flute, guitar. He played so many different instruments. And then my sister, staying off of that. And my sister is a crazy vocalist. Crazy vocalist. She could sing her ass off. And then I took all of those
Mm-hmm.
influences. My mom put me in piano lessons, and I develop think I have a really good ear for music and tones and stuff. So that's where I think I get my artistry from, is just like, melodically hearing like the tones and the tunes of all the notes,
Yeah.
and being able to mimic them, or harmonize along with like a beat or something. That's how I see it.
Man, hey, that's thank you for sharing your influences and how you were groomed and grew up, and you answered probably other questions I was going to ask, and you summed it all up. So, man,
I appreciate it.
um,
Yeah, yeah. That's what I remember growing up. I love all genres of music because of it
right,
too.
right,
Like I love all genres. Like I'm willing to do country, I'm willing to do rock, I'm willing to do whatever, but it's gotta feel good at the same time for me.
a
I'm not
real
gonna just,
musician.
you know,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, like it's gotta really like feel good. But I'm not picky neither. Like I'm not a picky beat person. Like if I really feel like it's got something, I could do it. Like I could do it. It just, some songs speak louder than others. Like I feel like, beats speak to me, and then I
okay.
know how to just kind of like subject it. You know what I'm
So is that
saying?
your songwriting process? You don't write songs and then you
No,
listen
I,
to a beat and then
I
come
don't.
up with the lyrics.
First, I melodically feel like I sing maybe 100 different
Okay,
ways, because it's like they say you could solve a math problem in so many different ways. It's the same. I feel like it's the same kind of concept. Like you could go on, if you could if you hear it, like if you hear it, if it clicks, sometimes it doesn't click. Sometimes it does. You don't get oh, I got this one. Sometimes it's like, You know, this one's giving me a struggle. But sometimes I mean, a lot of the songs click. Like a lot of the songs click, and it's like, okay, I know which way this is making me feel. I know which way I want to go about it. So I melodically like play with songs and hum and mumble and harmonize and do different things, and then I'll start coming up with the subject little by
Okay.
little on how the song makes me
Okay.
feel.
I'll always I'll be honest with you. I barely ever get to I barely in I ain't gonna say get to. It's probably kind of my fault. I don't interview too many people that are singers, so I never really asked anybody how do you put this, like you say, with the harmonies, and you just broke it down perfectly. You played with it. It's almost like a rapper trying to figure out a cadence, and then that's it. Okay, so
Yeah,
you just made it make sense. So something I always wondered, like, man, how the fuck do they figure out when just whatever how y'all you said how y'all be doing harmonies? I always wondered that shit. So
yeah, but like I said, everybody got a different tweak to it. Like even like I look at people like Young Thug. He does
mm,
things. He melodically hears things very very different, but it works. It works. Like as somebody who hears pitches and stuff like that, I understand what he's doing or where he's going with it. Some people I don't, because it doesn't sound melodically
mm,
inclined. They like go off, kind of like going off beat with it,
okay.
and that'll throw me off.
See,
That's
you would
music
know
I
that. I
can't really.
wouldn't know. I get what you
Things
said.
that I
You had that ear
can't
and that
understand.
mind. Okay,
Things that I can't understand. I don't really like that
okay,
much. I gotta really understand. I gotta really understand. Like I like subject, man. I like subject to the
right.
stories. Like you gotta give me a story to the song. You can't just be talking about 100 different things. Like it's gotta go somewhere. You know. I feel like that's the essence of music and where music really came
Yeah,
from. Even when it was
yeah,
rapping,
yeah.
when you was rapping, people were talking about their neighbor. You had 4 or 5 bars that were a
What's the
story
message?
before he went into the next
Yeah,
story.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they don't got that nowadays. One bar is the story.
Man,
The next
a two
bar is a different
a
story.
one
The
minute
next
40
bar is a different.
1 minute 45 second joint. Like,
It's
yeah.
crazy, and that's for the DJs though. Like they made music nowadays for the
I blame that
DJs.
shit
It's
on
not even for
TikTok.
the
Me
people
personally, I
no
blame
more.
that shit on TikTok. I think everybody doing that shit for this internet shit. So, they run my shit on here, and this how long that they play the music on the TikToks and the Instagrams, and that's all. That's just my opinion, just the way I'm observing shit. Because
Yeah,
I don't know, but
it's
it
it's,
is something you just said
it's
made me think about a song of yours I saw on YouTube. I want to say it's called "You Did Me Wrong" or something, and you flipped. Oh my God, what did you flip? You flipped this.
did me
You
wrong.
flipped
Lord.
something, but the way you did it,
Oh, the Lloyd
yeah,
song, you
yeah,
on the A Boogie
yeah,
beat, which was the Mary J.
but the way
Blige.
you flipped it though, like when you were saying, like when you playing with it, like, oh, this is gonna work. You still rocked it. You did it totally your way. You know what I mean? It was like I was like, oh shit, like you said, like nigga, this is still hard as a motherfucker. Like, oh, so that back to what you were saying originally about putting the harmonies together and just trying. I said, oh
Yeah,
man,
that was that's what I like to call a mashup. That's what DJs do. They put a lyrics.
yeah,
They put the vocals from one beat, and then they
yeah,
mix it on somebody else's
yeah,
other
yeah.
beat. So I can't do that
Yeah,
as a human.
or dance hall big on that. Dance hall is big on that. You know what I mean? From the stuff I listen to, dance hall do
Exactly.
that. Them motherfuckers will take a beat and
Well, on the mixtape, my mind is like that too.
yeah, okay,
My
yeah,
mind on the mixtape, my mind is a song from a girl named Yeba, I think her name is, and this her song.
okay,
It's called my. That's like technically a cover mashup, the same way I did with the "Did Me Wrong" with the you
yeah. But you
shit.
rock that motherfucker though, bro. My mind too. No, that shit go. That's one of my favorite joints on there.
So those are covers. Those are covers. Those are other people's songs
Yeah, but
that I
you're
sang
iteration.
on other people's beats.
Yeah, but your iteration of it, you know what I mean? And that's always been
Yeah,
done in especially in R&B. Like you know how many versions that they got of I heard through the grapevine. Like Marvin Gaye's ain't the only version. You know what I mean?
no, yeah, I hear you. No, that's a
So
fact. But I sung it on somebody else's on a different song.
yeah, whole nother track. Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And that's where I felt that's something that I like to do is like they call it like trying to just match the BPMs, like that people just understand like, oh, that's the same BPM. How does he even know that's the same? You know, that you could put that song into that
yeah,
song, and I just hear it. I could hear it. Like I
yes
just
sir.
hear it in my ear and it comes to me. I'm like, oh wait. And then I start singing another song on top of another song. I'm like, oh wait, and then I put the instrumental on, and now I sing it,
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh shit,
yep,
like I could kind of make this like sound like an original,
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, no,
you know?
and I'm gonna flip it. Like you said, it's what DJs do. Just with
I'm a, I'm a,
a acapella instrumental, but you singing it live and flipping it. It's you know what I mean. It's incredible. Um,
that's it. All the other stuff though on the mixtape is all
okay,
remixes. Everything else is my original
okay,
writing
okay, all right.
on other songs that are from other
Yeah,
artists.
just other beats, other people beats.
Yeah, because I come from the essence of mixtapes. Like that's what
Mm-hmm.
I grew up listening to, like Fab's mixtapes, French Montana and Max
Mm-hmm.
B and Jeezy. Like if you want to go into like the rap, like Eric Cassidy,
Mm-hmm.
like these guys was killing them. Jada Styles, like Dipset, all of them, like they was killing it off of mixtapes. Everything was mixtape. I remember going on live mixtapes,
Mm-hmm. Man,
live mixtapes.com. That
yep.
Piff.
Man, we missed that piff. Man, I missed that
Though
piff.
you had to go on them websites to go watch and get all of that stuff. You know what I'm
Man,
saying?
I missed that
Lil
piff.
Wayne's
I ain't
came
gonna
out.
bullshit.
Yeah, Lil Wayne came out. I remember like one of the biggest mixtapes. Lil Wayne came out with No
Mm-hmm.
Ceilings. Like when he came out with No Ceilings, that mixtape too, right there, was what made me see like how to be a grand artist.
Okay.
What like he rapped on so many
Right.
versatile beats like no other rapper would. No rapper would have picked those beats from No Ceilings and said, "I'm
Right.
gonna rap on those beats." But
He
Little
was
Wayne
in a
did.
hell of a pocket then too, bro. He was yeah,
He just went
yeah.
crazy. Like he went crazy. He even did that Lady Gaga song on that, I think, and that was like the police shut us down thing. I think
Nigga, the winning train was
I,
unstoppable at that point.
he was.
I'm gonna just piggyback off of something you said. I think one of the craziest things I ever heard Lil Wayne rap on was that shit that Gnarls Barkley Crazy song. I said, hold the fuck up, Lil Wayne. Nigga, what? Nigga, what?
He was just, he was just going, and now look at what Look at the look at who he has brought into the limelight, and look at the accomplishments that
Oh man,
person has made.
come on, man. What we talking about? Come on, man. Hey, man,
You
out of
know,
here, out of here. Way bigger than that. The
you know,
motherfucker having a let me think, 15-year run. Like,
bro. Guy was artist of the
yeah,
decade, bro.
yeah,
Guy number one Billboard numbers is crazy.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like Drake, shout out
yeah.
to Drake. Like Drake really,
And then
Wayne,
after all that shit, just
Wayne
drop some
cooked.
clean shit. I ain't gonna lie.
Wayne, Wayne was a dragon and breaded a
Yeah,
dragon right after.
yeah.
Like that to me is like I think Wayne's Wayne's history books of ever becoming one of the greatest artists that ever lived right there because it's one thing to be one of the greatest artists yourself. It's another thing to breed one of the greatest artists ever. Like
And
to really
everybody
put
cannot
on and
do
be
it.
like, yo, bro,
Everybody can't do
that
it.
that's the difference between leadership and a boss.
Mm.
A boss is always gonna want their pawns and their people to stay in the same places they want to stay in. But a leader is not gonna give a motherfucker how much money you make if he taught you the game. He's happy that he taught you the game and you blew up to be
And
where
then,
you at, and
yeah.
doesn't mind taking maybe a
I
small
mean,
percentage of that.
hey man,
So
listen.
even if you
Hey,
If I
that's part of the game
teach you
too.
the,
But let's
if
play
I'm a,
fair. Yeah.
if I'm a millionaire and I teach you the game and you become 100 millionaire, and I got 10% of
Yep.
your situations that I taught you, I ain't mad.
Like
I ain't
Doona just said,
mad.
Eminem and 50 is how we could describe Wayne and Drake. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Rain and 50,
Yeah.
perfect. I mean, Eminem, yeah, Eminem fit. That's a perfect
Yeah.
situation too.
That's shit. Like, Eminem said, I ain't doing the Super Bowl without 50. Fuck you talking about. Like, nigga, you want to talk about
That's how
holding a
I
motherfucker
feel.
down.
That's how I
Yeah.
feel.
That's
That's how
love.
I
And
feel.
that's real live loyalty. And like you said,
For
leadership and being a boss.
how many years?
Mm-hmm.
For how many years they've been loyalty like that?
20, 20 some years. It came out 2003, 2002. Yeah. So, um,
That's
but like
deep.
you were saying, real leadership and being a real boss, and it's a different thing than just I'm gonna sign you and you my artist kind of shit. That shit, some people just ain't
I said, I'm gonna teach you how to win. I'm gonna take 10%. You got 90% of the everything else
man.
is yours. There's no greed behind that, bro.
And
This is shit that we've never had in our lives
yeah,
ever. Whether you a millionaire or
yeah.
not, we could be a millionaire today. If we was willing to make more millions, there's more millions that we ain't never had.
It's only gonna grow. It's only gonna grow. Yes, sir.
So people gotta understand mindset. They can't be on some in people pockets neither. Like, oh, that nigga got money and da 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 da,
Bro,
and shit.
that's
You know what I'm saying? Like, nah,
that's the
bro, it's
last
not
thing a
about that.
motherfucker you supposed to be thinking about. Like,
The
nigga,
first thing is how is it a nigga do? How is the dude? How does the dude doing it? How is he making it happen?
yeah.
What can you feed off of what or learn from
Yes,
this
sir.
person
Yes,
that
sir.
that you see? You know. And if this person ain't willing to teach, if this person ain't willing to give you a piece, if you can't find a piece, there's always more people that will give you a piece. You take piece by piece by piece by piece, and you build yourself that whole building by yourself,
Yeah,
bro. Your whole structure by yourself, bro, if you got to. And then teach the game to people who are willing to teach, because you never know how
yeah.
loyalty
And
goes, how long loyalty. Look,
I'm gonna just say this. I mean to interrupt. I'm gonna just say
go
this
ahead.
though. I know I know today's climate might be a little different with the music industry. You know what I mean? Because it's a whole different game now. But I know before a lot of people were getting these fucking contracts. You know what I'm saying? And the contract would kind of if they would instead of them being able like, yo, this ain't working out with us, yo, let me go work somewhere else and get my you know what I mean, get my shit going. Like you ain't giving me the right whatever it is. Them contracts have niggas fucked up, man, in a fucked up situation and them fucking labels or whatever it was, it just seemed like, yo, nigga, this was a waste. This was a waste. This was a waste of my fucking time and talent. And but I know today's climate is a lot different. I'm saying this from a lot of people I interviewed, and they just be like, man, I was in this fucking situation, and it was just like, damn, yo. But I don't know if it's hopefully it's not as bad anymore. I don't know because I just know the game is so different. You know what I mean? Um, but
The game right now, I think, is better. I'm not
it
gonna
gotta
hold you than
be
what it used to be. When when it comes to um artistman development and being
right.
independent and making it happen on your own. See, I think that's what took me a long time to come out with music too.
Okay.
Um, things have changed now, so everything that has changed now has also given me probably an even grander opportunity than the way music was back in the
Right.
day.
Right.
Um, I felt like I probably could have still made it back in the day, but at the end of the day, I didn't want to get. That was the biggest thing for me of not putting out music. The was I always wanted to make sure that I was gonna make money from it. Like, yeah,
That's
I love music,
yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, but I knew that people were getting fucked
Yeah.
out there. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
people were getting no money deals and people were like looking like pawns in 1 minute and people were not looking like no money the next minute, and I just knew that I needed to really learn how the hell am I gonna own my own music.
Yeah. And
So
back then, man, that shit was not status quo. Niggas, they was not trying to let niggas like if I'm putting you on, Like unless you got your own place you recording and you producing all your own shit, like you a self contained whatever. Like no, nigga, if I'm putting up all this, it was just status quo. Like you know what I mean? Yeah,
bro. It was difficult,
dirty
bro. It was
game.
it was difficult, but people put up money for you, one shot deal,
Yep.
and you just signed a contract that you ain't really getting no money
Yeah.
from none of it. Like none of the royalties. Your shit playing on a movie. Your shit playing in advertisements, commercial
I'm just
for.
but like you saying, man. To today's times, man, it's so much more wide open, man. You should definitely be able to leverage if you in that situation with the, you know what I mean. It should definitely be a way more high way to leverage this shit, cause nigga, y'all motherfuckers ain't even selling CDs no more. Like y'all ain't got this shit. Don't even cost no money to physically put out. Not like what are we talking about? But that's the
You
side
know,
note.
you know
I
what?
still want to talk to you more about your story, brother. I know we could get into this some more, but so as you were saying, back in the day, you was working on this, man. You recorded your first time at 14. You say you moved to Queens around 13. So okay, explain this to me.
I, so when I moved to Queens, I moved to Forest Hills. Everything was new to me.
Right?
My side was like dominantly a Russian Jewish, like Russian Jew neighborhood.
Okay.
Um, but it was still mixed.
Goldfinger,
It
what
was
up?
still mixy. Like there was still black, Spanish. There was still people around in the neighborhood. Left Rack was on the other side of the
Okay.
highway, whatever the case may be. But I didn't go to school in Manhattan. I mean, I didn't go to school in Queens. I went to school in Manhattan.
Okay.
So when I changed and I transferred in the seventh grade from Brooklyn to Manhattan in the eighth grade to a school that was also, I went to charter school my whole life. So I went from one charter school to the next in Manhattan. And then I grew up. And then in Manhattan, I started in the eighth grade and went through 12th grade. So going to Manhattan was really when I started recording, like in that area, because like I said, it was by like Bellevue Hospital where we used to go record in the beginning when I first learned what it was to put on headphones and to sing into a mic.
Right. That
And then from there, I just used to write and try to figure out my thing. And then my sister put me onto a repertory theater group, Impact Repertory Theater. You can look them
I
up.
don't know what that
They
I
still
don't know what that
going.
is. Please explain. I don't know what that is.
It's a youth um act like it's like a singing, dancing, and acting youth
Okay.
organization that
Okay.
they have kids go and perform and spread positivity throughout, like all over New York, all over different places and stuff
All
like
right, I
that.
get it.
It's ran by a guy named Jamal Joseph, who's like one of the old school Black Panthers and one of the professors of Columbia. And I used to be part of that too. Bunch of kids like me, kids growing up, some hard, some had harder than others. Um, and just, in love with music, dance, and theater, like, people acting, doing poetry, things like that. And we would go around and we would go perform in all kinds of different places. Um, they would do vocal lessons. We would do vocal lessons, all kind of stuff like that. So it was cool for a while, but then got, got caught right back into the bullshit.
Okay.
Stopped going to that. Um, and started still trying to pursue myself as a career in music, writing, doing a whole bunch of things. But I, there was a time in my life that I was really like
You
in the
want
streets.
to get some money.
I had to get the money.
That's what it always comes down to. Like, man, listen, I need some fucking money. Need some
I had to
fucking
get to
money.
the money.
Yeah.
I had to get to the money. I had to figure it out. You know, I always had a job though. I was just trying to work it. I was working and stuff, but
Yeah, but I can
I
respect
knew
extra money.
I was always in tune. But I was also young and also
Yeah.
dumb, and full of cum and wanting to have fun. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day.
Well,
So
that's what we do when we teenagers and things of that nature. That's, what the fuck?
I was getting myself. We was getting in trouble too. I had to
Yeah.
got in trouble. Did a little
Oh man.
time.
Okay. Damn.
I had to do a little time. Came home. But I wrote in there. I wrote in there.
Okay.
I even made a hit. I think I made a hit in there.
Word.
Yeah, everybody was going crazy. I plan on actually coming out with it one day, man. That song can't die.
Okay.
I can't.
It shouldn't.
That song can't die. And
Man,
everybody who,
I'm sure it was inspired in an inspirational moment, like you saying, while you sitting down for a minute. Great creativeness could probably come out of that. Yes, sir.
so I wrote a whole book in there, like
Word.
of music. Yeah, I wrote a whole book
Yeah.
in there.
Fucking
Before I
right.
used to go to sleep, like that's what used to put me to sleep was writing.
Mm.
I used to be the only one up in my bed. Like I used to put my radio headphones on, or if I did, and listen to certain beats, maybe remix them and write it, or a cappella, just create a beat in my head, a melodic beat in my head,
Right.
write to it, and say when I come home, maybe I could just executive produce
Yeah.
something to make sure, like,
Yeah.
everything sounds cool when I come home. But then as I grew up later on, it's been like 10 years since I've been down. So later on, I used to take some of that and just um um mold it and make it sound better and better and better and more mature, and continue the writing process until now. I feel like I've been through so much in my life, through all the adversity, that like I could relate to so many people's pains and fun at the same
Yep.
time. That
Such is life.
um
Such is life, brother.
you you know, and I feel like I just gotta put
Absolutely.
it out, put it out through my
Yeah.
music, through my creativity.
Yeah.
Um, it's just something I love to do, like something I'm willing to do my whole life, forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so when did you decide, like, yo, I'm gonna take this shit serious?
We decided that about 2 years ago,
Okay.
3 years ago, like to take it to the next level,
Okay.
to take it to the point where it was just like we can't play no
Right.
more. Like one of my brothers, one of me and Doona's brothers, who's down right now, like this guy's my heart, bro. Like it's my heart. Um, he put us together. He always wanted to see this dream
Okay.
happen. Doona got shit that he got text messages from the day the dude was, was first trying to put him on to me, like, yo, I got this singer,
Mm-hmm.
da 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 da, da, like, you got to come and see him. And then Doona didn't want to do music back in the day.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, I know
he
he
was
said he walked away.
content
He walked away. Yeah.
when he walked away from it. So this was during the time he walked away from it, and he was just content with working and doing what he was doing with his life.
Right.
Um, and he was like, I'm not in the music no more, but I'll put you somewhere, like, I'll put you somewhere. So later on, Duna started getting closer to me when my man got locked
Mm.
up, because I used to live with
Okay.
him. And when my man got locked up, Duna come around me more. We chop it up about and situation, and how we gonna help him and figure out what we are gonna do for him.